comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, 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 money.
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar. Ching, ching, bling, bling. Got the chatter.
Ooh, I hate that. Okay, so I can officially spoil Into the Spider-Verse, right? Because you clicked on this video and it said spoiler review, so you probably know it's a spoiler review. So Into the Spider-Verse has been out for a day or two, so I decided, why don't I just talk about the spoilers things from this movie? And I'm not going to do what I usually do with spoiler reviews, because I realized after the Venom one, I just realized, no one wants to watch that. No one wants to watch me talk about the movie you just saw for 30 minutes. Like, it's just an uninteresting, boring video. So I just decided, hey, today, why don't we let's just kind of go through the things that I actually want to talk about, and the things that, like, just everything I find interesting about this movie. So yeah, that's a solid spoiler warning. You didn't get that already? Of everything spoiler, just everything saying, hey, spoiler warning. And I know I didn't do the Crimes of Grindelwald spoiler review for obvious reasons. There was almost no interesting things in that movie, so there was no reason to make a spoiler review. So let's just spoil this movie. Alright, so let's start out with, let's see. I'm just going to start out with, so y'all know the plot. He goes, Miles Morales, we introduce our character. He's going to high school. He's living his life. He's living like kind of gangsta, like kind of. But he's living his life. Then all of a sudden he goes to school. He meets this girl at school and he like makes a joke. She laughs. And when I saw the scene with her, you know who it was. It was Gwen Stacy, and I was like, oh, huh, that looks like Gwen Stacy. Then you can see them kind of interact. And one thing that is explained later in this movie that reflecting on it, it still doesn't make any sense to me. It's when Gwen Stacy says, later in the movie, she's talking about how she got to the dimension, and she says, I was sucked into the portal and I came to your world. But when I was here, my spider senses told me to go to the school that you were at. And then she goes to the school. But here's what really confuses me about this. How did she get into a school without having any parents? Like, you can't just do that. How did, like, any guardians? I mean, you can't get into school without parents. You can get into just at least a guardian or someone who takes care of you. But she has no one taking care of her in this dimension. So how did she get into the school? How did she get the clothes? How did she get the supplies? How did she just get into the school in general? That just didn't make sense to me. Then I thought about it and I was like, this plot wouldn't have worked as well without her. Because, I mean, at least the relationship between her and Miles Morales wouldn't have worked as well because you don't really have the development from the start of him thinking she's a normal girl, but it changes. And later in the movie, so then later you meet up with his uncle. He's a pretty cool dude, and you really see the relationship between the two. He's like this gangsta kind of thug, whatever. They go down to the sewers. Miles has made this spray paint, so they spray paint it on the wall. The spider from the sewers goes and bites him, and yeah. I really like this scene. I have one problem with it, though. Look, these are not problems with the movie, because I am not removing anything from the 10 out of 10 score. This movie, by God, deserves that. I loved everything about this movie, but these are just a couple things I just kind of didn't buy, or just didn't really like. That's the spider takes forever to bite him. Like, you see the spider at the beginning, and then they finish the entire spray paint, taking a couple hours at least, and spider still hasn't bit him. But I did really like the painting. I thought it was really well done on the wall. I don't know why I'm mentioning that. But he gets bitten by the spider. One of the best scenes in the entire movie. This might be one of my favorite jokes in the movie. There were a couple jokes later that I thought were hilarious. That my brother didn't even catch one of them. But the spider, like, bites him, and he goes like the spider calls to his arm. He goes, oh! The spider bites him, and it goes inside, like, his DNA. It shows, like, the blood still spinning up. It's, like, going through everything, kind of what it did in the first Spider-Man. And he just goes like, and it just goes back to me, and he flicks it off, and the spider dies. I burst out laughing. I was like, oh my god, that is comedy right there, because one thing I love about this movie is that it's showing us the Spider-Man origin story, but it's doing it differently. Like, it's showing a Miles Morales origin story, which is pretty much, from what I've seen in this movie, it's pretty much the same as the Peter Parker one. But not the character, I mean the actual thing of him getting bit by a spider, then gets fighting powers, and he's trying to learn how to figure these spider powers, it gets awkward at school, you know all that. But in this movie, he, like, gets the spider powers, and everything's going weird for him. And I liked how this movie did that, because it wasn't really... You've seen it before. Like, look, my main problem with the Amazing Spider-Man movies is that you've seen it before. And it came out like a couple, like maybe 5 years ago from the Amazing Spider-Man 1. Spider-Man 3 came out 5 years, like, before it. So, there's not really anything... That's why I don't really like the Amazing Spider-Man movies, is because neither of them have any original or creative ideas. Actually, I don't think any of them are really that good at movies. But in this movie, it's a new, different movie, so I can give it credit for that. Same way I can credit for Homecoming. But in this movie, when he gets the spider powers, it doesn't really go for the same angle. I just like how they went through it. They went through it fast. It just needs to be cleared up, because I hate it when a superhero movie shows how they, like, an event of them. Then they're bad. Then they're superhero, whatever. Like in the Batman 70s movie, the 79 Batman. I know a lot of people love that movie. I personally just think it's I think it's okay. Just think it's corny. I like Jack Nicklaus's Joker. That's one of my few things. I like the actors and everything. I like the action. It's just, as it stands, I don't really like that movie as much as other people. But in that movie, it shows his parents died, because that's a beat that every Batman movie has to hit. Then it immediately goes to him being Batman, and I just hated that. Even when I saw it, when I didn't really like origin stories that much, I just hated that, because I'd rather watch the origin story than watch them just, boom, they're there, because I usually didn't like origin stories because they were boring. But now we're here, and now I really like origin stories. I don't have a problem with origin stories. They're fine to me. This movie's an origin story, technically. But I just like the way they handled his origin and whatnot. Then, what are actually my favorite scenes in the movie? He gets the spider powers, he goes back down to the sewer because he's like, alright, I need to get what's happening figured out. He goes under the sewer, then he sees Kingpin, and he sees the big reactor machine. He's like, what's that? Then he sees Spider-Man saving the day, they talk, and I was kind of bothered by that scene, because I was like, the pacing's just a bit off, like, just everything's going too fast. Then it fixes it, later it just fixes the problem I just had. Thanks for reading my mind. But then later, so there's just all the action's going down. Spider-Man's doing Spider-Man stuff. Then all of a sudden, the whole thing blows up and collapses. Spider-Man's down there, and Kingpin and him are talking. Kingpin says, Spider-Man says, I know what you're trying to do. You're not going to get him back. Kingpin just that to him, and I was like, oh, he's not dead. No, he's dead. Like, what? Spider-Man died? I just yelled that in my house. Like, only me and my brother have actually seen that. Whatever, it doesn't really matter. I don't think anyone's listening to me upstairs. But, yeah, I thought that was a great scene. One of the best scenes about this movie, because my brother said at the end, I just didn't like the scene where he died, and I was like, you're not supposed to really cry during that scene. You don't know Peter Parker from this movie. You know Peter Parker. You don't know him from this movie, and you just don't know everything about him, and I just loved the way it actually happens. One of my main problems with this movie is, I'm sorry, but MJ would be destroyed by him dying. She just kind of goes like we don't see any emotion from her. She's just kind of like, yeah, I'm here. I'm just bothered by that. But then he goes to the grave and he's like, I'm sorry, I couldn't do it. I couldn't like avenge you. He gets a costume. One of the saddest scenes in the movie, honestly. It's not even intentionally sad, but it's the scene. He goes to the costume shop. He buys the costume. He sets it on a counter. And there is Stan Lee. You know what happened, of course. Stan Lee passed away a month ago. It was a very sad event for every Marvel fan, every Spider-Man fan, every Marvel fan. That made me sad. And I bet a lot of people are probably mad at me because they're like, why didn't you make a video about it? Did you not care? No, I love Marvel. Like, why would I not care? The reason why I didn't make a video about it was because it was a huge, busy week for me. And a week later, it's pretty irrelevant by that point. That's also why I didn't make the Detective Pikachu review, which I really wanted to make, but I didn't get to. I didn't get to make the Stan Lee death review. It was just a really, really crowded week, and I'm really mad about that. But now I get to finally talk about it. And another reason why I didn't make it is because, what can I say? I can't relate to that. So, I guess, like, it's hard to make a video about that. And I feel like I'm going to miss the point. I'm going to offend someone. I just really don't want to. But I want to address the point. Yes, I know he died. And yes, I know it broke my heart as much as everyone else did. But the scene it's unintentionally sad. And it's not a gripe with this movie, because the movie had no idea that was going to happen. But it is unintentionally sad. Anyway, off of that, then he does the whole leap of faith thing. He doesn't do it. More stuff happens. One scene that happens, he goes to the grave and he's just like, I'm sorry. Oh, by the way, if you saved for the post-credit scene to Venom, you actually saw this scene. Like, you actually saw the scene where Spider-Man goes to the grave and everything goes down there. Which I didn't understand the clip. I was like, wait, Spider-Man dies, but he's back? So I was just thinking, Spider-Man's gonna die, but then he's gonna come back. Like, that's actually what I thought was gonna happen. He doesn't. But anyway, It shows like the entire. It's like I got to see that entire scene, like between when they fall into the road, they're just walk around. That from the beginning of it, from the beginning, like where the scene goes in the graveyard. I saw all of that. If you stayed for the post, if you stayed after credits for Venom, you got to see that. More things that Into the Spider-Verse did that I thought were pretty. Venom's still in theaters, right? So people can go see that clip right now, right? Like, Venom's still in theater. I know go into DVD in a week or two, but I mean, I don't care at all. I mean, I'm actually going to go watch Venom again, believe it or not, because I didn't hate that. I hated Venom. I thought it was a terrible, awful movie, but I enjoyed it, so I'm going to go back and watch it. Maybe I'll like it that time. Maybe I'll think it's even worse. Who knows, but I will watch it before the top 10 bets of the year. Anyway, back on Into the Spider-Verse. Okay, another cool scene in this movie. There's a lot of those. When the whole Spider-Man thing goes down, I already saw it like a month ago, so, but let's just say the scene's fun, it's entertaining, it's funny, it's goofy, it's just chaotic and fun. But he learns his power that he can use electricity too, which is something I really like, because when you do notice, Spider-Man, he had, this is gonna sound like more like a, oh, that's dumb, but Spider-Man, he has spider powers. And I don't think any spiders actually use electricity as a weapon, or can turn invisible as he does in this movie. But the thing is that the general idea of Spider-Man is stupid. It really is. Like, you get bit by a radioactive spider, all of a sudden Spider-Man. That's not a gripe with the character at all. That is not a problem. Your movie can be dumb and it works. That has happened more than once on this year. Like, remember the Meg, a movie that was incredibly stupid, and it didn't have very interesting characters, but it ended up being a lot of fun. That's why I really liked that movie. But I guess I don't really remember it that well, because it was just fun. Just nothing very memorable about the Meg. But that movie just ended up being fun. It's just cool. It's just fun. It's kind of dumb, but then the rest of it makes sense, and it all works out in the end to be a relatable, good story. In this movie, I just love all the character. I just love. Okay, let's go back onto it. I usually get off track in these videos. That's one of the main reasons why they're so long. All right, let's go back. Guess I also kind of made a Deathly Hallows Part 2 spoiler review. But, you know, it's Deathly Hallows Part 2, so... So then he meets up with Spider-Man, like the actual Spider-Man. You know, Spider-Man from another universe. He's like in his 40s now. He broke up with Aunt May. Aunt May, you can't break up with your aunt. That was really dumb. Sorry. That's probably disturbing. That's actually really disturbing. He broke up with MJ, which is sad as well. But he had actually good reason, because he was like, having kids, that scared me. And I was like, wait, what? I've never heard that in a Spider-Man movie. No Spider-Man movies toyed with the idea of that. Wow. Now he's working into the Spider-Verse, the first movie to actually do that. That is really surprising. Amazing Spider-Man didn't even have MJ. Probably going to have it in Amazing Spider-Man 3, which I actually kind of wanted to see. Genuinely, I wanted to see Amazing Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man agrees to teach Miles to be Spider-Man. They rob that place where Doc Ock happens. Yeah, that was Doc Ock. I thought that was cool, too, when it was like, my name is Octavius, blah, blah, blah. When I heard that, I was like, yeah. And it was like, no, it's like, your friends call you Doc Ock, and she says, no, my enemies do. And I was like, this is the best Doc Ock. No, maybe not as good as Spider-Man 2's Doc Ock, because he was just such a good character. He's just such a good character. He was like Venom, but good. But I really like Doc Ock in this movie. It was awesome to just see this new incarnation of Doc Ock. Gwen Stacy, the enters this movie, is freaking awesome. Like, she just comes in, swings around, kicks, does awesome. They grab the computer, they grab a bagel on the way, too. They actually throw that. Actually, one joke that my brother didn't catch. They take the bagel, they throw it at a guy behind him, and it hits him in the head, and it just says bagel by his head. I burst out laughing myself. I was like, that's just perfect. And I did say in my review that the comic book aspect of this movie, I liked how it didn't really compromise the story. But one of the best things you can say all day, I went to school today, and I was like, hey, it's Into the Spider-Verse, and they were like, oh, is it good? And I said, yeah, it was as good as Infinity War. One kid actually goes up, I said, I've seen Into the Spider-Verse, and then he went up to me, and he said, is it just kind of and I said, actually, it was as good as Infinity War. And he was like, what? The relationship between Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy starts to uproot. Then we kind of learn Gwen Stacy's origin. I already talked about my problem with it. But I did like it. I liked how it was like Peter Parker was her best friend, and then she died. You did that better than the Amazing Spider-Man did, Gwen Stacy. I'll tell you that. And I mean, don't get me wrong, Emma Stone's a great actress. But character-wise, she's really freaking boring. But no, I like that. I liked her origin. I thought it was cool. Peter Parker dies twice in this movie. Huh. More big deal stuff goes down, of course. They go to Aunt May's house, one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie. They go to Aunt May's house. She's just kind of classic Aunt May. Then she goes, and then she, like, goes to the backyard, and she opens up the secret lair in the old 40s Spider-Man, or just, like, the future Spider-Man. It's just kind of like, oh, yeah, this is super pretentious. Yeah, it's something way like this. It's like a shed. He's just kind of like that. Then he goes into the base, there's all the Spider-Man gear, and Aunt May's just kind of there, you know. And then Miles Morales is just like, I can't do it. They're all like, all the new Spider-Mans are introduced. You got, let's see, Penny Parker and SPDR, which I actually learned. I stopped recording the review, then I read on the back that SPDR, the robot, I actually thought they were one and the same. Like, I thought it was like SPDR and her, the robot and Penny combined to SPDR. I thought that was the way it was, but then I learned, oh, they're actually the same, because it actually says in the back. Penny and SPDR are from the futuristic year 3145, and I was like, oh, 3145, whatever you want to call it, and I was like, oh, okay, great. Anyway, back onto the, 2018, that would be 3145, great! Do I get to look like anime at 3145? First make it to 3145. Now we'll talk about that. I'm not even gonna make it to 21. I'm not even gonna make it to the year 2100. So why should I even be looking forward to that? Why should I? I literally just looked at this again. It actually says on here, Penny's robot suit responds to only her DNA. I'm learning all this now, by the way. I thought seeing all the characters' origin story was funny. I thought it was cool to see Peter Parker. Like they just all come in, and then, okay, I love the scene in the trailer. I've watched my trailer reaction for this movie so many times, because I just love the part where she's like, it shows Gwen Stacy playing the drums, and I'm just like, the frame I see, I'm just like watching it, and then all of a sudden, I see I just see Spider-Noir, and then I'm just like, okay, I'm just kind of like this, and then I see the anime, and I just go like this. I just go like, and then I see Peter Parker, and I'm just like, they just look really confused, like, wait, what? But I loved all the characters in this movie. Peter Parker doesn't really do anything at all. That's what I'm calling him. I don't know if he has a spider pig. I mean, I know that's the thing from The Simpsons, I think. I don't know. I don't watch The Simpsons. I'm sorry, I just don't. I have better things to do, I guess. Jeez, I tried to be shorter, and this video did not end up being shorter. More awesomeness goes down. And that was weird. You get to see all the characters, you get to see their backstory. One of my favorite parts is they're like, my name is Spider-Noir, my name is Penny Parker, my name is Peter Parker. And then it just shows them and they're like, I was bitten by a radioactive spider. And at the same time they see spider, Peter Parker says radioactive pig. And I just thought about it and I was like, bitten by a radioactive pig. I wonder what that would be like. I really enjoyed these stories. I thought they were hilarious to just see all their origin stories. We don't even really know that much just about Spider-Man Noir. In fact, there's a scene in there where they're all sharing their deaths, like everything they had. One of them is really funny, actually. The thing that was really nice about this movie is there are emotional scenes in this movie, but for some reason they throw a little joke in there, and you'd think it wouldn't work. You'd think it'd kind of go Last Jedi, but instead, it actually worked. Like, it actually really works. Like, there's a couple scenes in the movie where they make a joke in the middle of an emotional scene, and it actually worked. Like, it's just kind of like this little, Granted, it doesn't help the emotional scene, and I would have preferred without it, but then I like a good laugh. I just think maybe place the joke otherwise, somewhere else, but whatever. He goes up through the top, he goes back, oh, let's see, what's his name? Miles goes back up, he goes through the top, he goes back to his house, and at this house, on his way home, I think, that one bad guy, the one, like, with the Deadpool eyes, he goes to his this summer room, I'm forgetting where, it might have been his apartment, I don't know, but he's, like, searching around, and I really like the scene in the movie. Like, I don't love it, but I really like it, because what it does is, this movie is so good at a twist. Like, this movie doesn't have a lot of twists in it, but the one twist in it is that one of the bad guy's assistants, like, one of, Kingpin's assistant, it's his uncle! When I heard that, when I saw it, I was like, ooh, that's actually a pretty good twist, because here's the thing. the movie doesn't really... the best thing you could think is, I think the villain's gonna be a bad guy, but the villain's a really likable, good character. You like him. You think this guy's gonna be a good guy, and they don't put so much emphasis on him to the point where you think it's gonna be the bad guy, and they don't put emphasis on that other guy, or I guess they're the same guy, but whatever. You don't put that much emphasis on that guy, so you don't think they're gonna be the same character, and then all of a sudden when it's revealed, you're like, that was really good. That's how to do a twist. Don't really okay, it's obvious that that's predictable in a mystery movie, like a murder mystery movie. You'll be like, who did it? The one guy who's the quietest, the one that barely talks the least, he's always going to be the murderer. So at that point, you have to switch it up. But this is not a mystery movie. This is a Spider-Man action movie. Like, just fun, superhero animated movie. You kind of have to do it different. I love the way they did it. And also, when he takes the mask off, the music played was about as good. I don't know if it was as good for the best song, like just the song of the year. Just written for a movie, and I know the Avengers theme would probably be the best, but just I don't know because it was written in 2012. But what I mean by like the original piece is the Killmonger theme from Black Panther. Why this theme works so good is because it mixes the African culture of Wakanda and just African culture with this really good hip hop beat, combines them together to a beat that I would love to hear Kendrick Lamar rap over. Make that. There's gotta be some video of Kendrick Lamar freestyling over no beat. Just take that, put it over the Killmonger theme, and I would subscribe to you. Do that, and you'll get a subscriber. Also, apparently I have a couple sub-bot accounts, because my sub count went to 110. I know 2 people didn't just unsubscribe for me for no reason. So, I mean, I guess it is possible. Whatever. But when I went... whatever. Thanks, YouTube, for doing that. I actually thought there were more sub-bot accounts. Like, I genuinely did, because my friend one time my channel like just increased a bunch, and I was like, ooh, what? That was like the beginning of my channel. I was like, what the heck? And then eventually I was like, oh shoot! And then I texted my friend and I was like, yeah, did you use those sub-bot accounts again? And he said, yep. And I was just like, dang it, man, that's not what I'm trying to do. I didn't tell him to unsubscribe because I'd go back down, and it was just, I already had this boost, which actually helped me to grow here, so I thank him, but I kind of don't, It was a nice boosting point that he gave me, kind of a cheating boosting point. But I haven't cheated while doing YouTube. I haven't done sub for sub, I haven't done bot accounts, I've been doing good. So I just love the way this scene was revealed in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. We are still talking about that, right? Next scene in this movie is his uncle gets killed, which is another great scene. Okay, let's actually, nope, I'm kidding. They go back to the house, but Miles goes back to the house and he just said, my uncle, and they're like, no, calm down. Then all of a sudden, boom! Action scenes begin, a bunch of bad guys going to the house, there's a big action scenes movie, and I'm just gonna say it, Aunt May's a badass. I never thought I was gonna say that! Yes, I did! Like, she takes the bat, she goes, not in my house, no, take it outside, she hits one out of the house. That was awesome. Like, it would have been really corny and stupid, but it really worked in this movie. I really liked Aunt May in this movie. It might be my favorite Aunt May, just because fun. Kingpin kills his uncle. So there's a scene where he's grabbing him by the neck. Like his uncle's grabbing him by the neck over the ledge of the cliff, and the uncle just has the mask on. Then all of a sudden, he like shrills. He takes the mask off. His uncle takes his mask off too, and he's like still holding him. And all of a sudden, he's like, and then Kingpin's like, well, kill him. He backs him out back onto the roof. Then he gets shot. Actually, really sad scene. This is the saddest scene in the movie easily Spider-Man takes him, he goes to an alley with the body, and he's like talking to him his last words, then he dies, it's really sad, then then Spider-Man's just sitting there, he's all sad, then all of a sudden, his dad goes by, and he's like, hands up, and then Spider-Man turns invisible, he goes away, and then he goes down and he sees his uncle, and he thinks Spider-Man killed his dad, which I thought was going to play big in the story. It actually didn't come up ever again. They come out like at the end of the movie, but just nothing at all. Which is weird to me, but I'm fine with it because I don't think this is the best this movie could have been. That is my opinion. Spider-Man's all tied up. They have an emotional scene with him, and he's like, and Spider-Man's all like, I'm sorry, you can't go. You're not ready. So they all go. They're gonna go take down the collider. Spider-Man gives his electricity. But one of the best scenes also in this movie. God, this movie has so many great scenes. The dad walks up to the door. He knocks on the door. He says, hey, Miles, I can see your shadow. Come on out. And Miles, he doesn't say anything, he's just silent. But it's because they can't, he's all... The reason why this scene is so good is because Michael Mike, I almost called him Michael Myers. Why? I know Miles Morales. Okay, let's just go back to it. Miles Morales, he can't even talk to his dad. Like, he's incapable of it. His dad thinks he's just ignoring him because he's upset or whatever. And it's a really emotional scene. It was really well done. Note this, how things feel different from, like, literally a couple seconds ago, like 30 seconds ago. It just changed randomly. It's because I'm actually recording this a couple days later than I actually recorded that. I recorded the first 20 minutes of this or so. I don't know exactly how long it was. On Friday. Then I had some weird things with the storage on my phone, but I fixed it. So now it's Sunday, so now I'm recording this Sunday morning. So yeah, and I want to do this before I made my Mortal Engines review, so it's more relevant, if you will, I guess. Miles Morales learns to control his electricity. He breaks out of all the webs, and he finally decides to go to Aunt May to get a suit. And Aunt May's there, that she's just like, I knew you would be here, which is awesome. But like I said, Aunt May's a badass in this movie. It was awesome to see her be like this. Like, she's just like in the chair with her like tea, and she's like, I knew you'd be here. Then he gets a normal Spider-Man suit. Then he paints it black, and then one of the cool, this scene is just so cool. Like, just, he paints the whole thing black. It looks awesome. I love. Let me just take it right here. There it is. The Miles Morales suit of Spider-Man is freaking awesome. This might be my favorite Spider-Man suit of all time. It's just so cool. He just looks so, the red and the black, it just all works. We get the awesome scene where he goes to the edge of the building. He clings on the edge, and he jumps off. The glass rips. Everything about this scene is awesome. The only problem is I saw it a year ago in the teaser trailer, so I thought it was awesome then, but I didn't really, so when I saw the movie, I kind of didn't think about it because I was just like, oh, I've seen this a lot already. But the scene as it stands is beautifully well done. The amazing color, like the saturated color, the comic book feel, once again, really works in this scene. It's just awesome. I just love this moment of the movie. Oh my gosh! Then he later goes to what else happens? Oh yeah, then it shows like the final battle. They're going to this like Peter Parker memorial thing. Mary MJ's there. Mary Jane, whatever. MJ's there. All the Spider-Mans, they go in, and then one of the funny scenes in the movie is they're like, wait, how are we gonna get in? And then they notice all the cooks all have Spider-Man suits. They're like, that's convenient. Then they all just get in. It's just cool. They end up going in. They end up having to get down to the collider. Once they do, it's not going very well for them. Like let's see. This final battle, since it's a couple days ago, it's kind of hard for me to remember. I should have finished this on Friday night. Just somehow figured out the memory thing on Friday night. But I didn't because I didn't really have that much time. Now I'm trying to remember exactly how. But just stuff happens. Miles Morales comes. He comes to save the day. I think he saves Spider-Man. I'm not sure. But then there's an awesome final battle, which is really awesome because this movie's awesome, by the way. If you guys didn't catch that from me saying how much I love it for a while. Just the action's going down. It's all big. It's fun. It's this big, massive action scene with all the cool special effects. Every character is being awesome. They're beating up all the goons and whatnot. The scene's not really that special in that way, but I did think the action was really good. It's my favorite of the year. It's kind of hard to compare this movie to a movie like Fallout. Why am I saying this now? I don't know. But these movies, Fallout and Into the Spider-Verse, are so different that it is so hard to compare the two. Because one is amazing, beautiful, and visually in its actual visuals, and its actual camera work, and camera angles. The other one is just amazing in its animation, and its color scheme, and its comic book feel. And then the other one has really good action because it's realistic and intense. The other one has really good action because it's big, fast, and just good fun. The other one is really intense and entertaining because it's realistic. The other one is really intense and entertaining. Okay, that one didn't really make sense, but you get the point. These movies are very hard to compare, which is going to be really hard for my 10 bets of the year. These are the two movies right now that I'm really struggling. They switch back and forth, but right now I do have a set order for them. You will find that out after Christmas. But in Into the Spider-Verse, at the end, they're able to kind of stop. They're like at the top. They like open up the collider, I guess, so it's safe to go through. So they're all saying their goodbyes. They all go down into the collider. They all leave. And then it's just Spider-Man and Miles. Spider-Man's about to leave. Then I think not Dr. Octopus. Oh yeah, I'm forgetting. Oh yeah, so the scene where Miles Morales comes in, Dr. Octopus is like about to kill Spider-Man, the normal Spider-Man. Then Miles Morales comes in and he saves him, which is an awesome interest. I loved it. Like, he just goes down, whips it. It's awesome. Of course, it's into the Spider-Verse. But then, alright, how do I describe the next part of this movie? They have the big battle with Kingpin. Spider-Man is like he's hanging on to Spider-Man, and Miles is hanging on to Peter. He's like holding him there. He lets go Peter into the collider. Then it's just Miles versus Kingpin. They have a really big, really well done visual battle where the entire the collider is just, it's going insane. It's gonna go really bad eventually. And then like Miles is about to die, and he's getting up. Then one scene in this movie that I didn't love, but I thought it was okay. It's kind of dumb. He just gets up and he goes he's just using the shoulder trick. Hey, he electrocutes him and shoots him back. The electrocuting him and shooting him back was awesome. I just didn't like how he did the shoulder trick. That was not even an element of the movie that was at all important. If it was brought up more than once, that wouldn't have made sense. And even if it did get brought up more than once, it would have been pretty dumb. It wasn't a bad scene, per se. I thought the scene was cool. I just thought that was dumb. I just didn't like that one thing. That's my one thing I didn't like about this movie. I'm still giving it 10 out of 10 because I'm nerding out. And I don't think this movie technically deserves a 10 out of 10. Most movies don't. Pretty much all my 10 favorite movies of all time, none of them deserve 10 out of 10. Like, let's say Empire Strikes Back doesn't deserve 10 out of 10. The Force Awakens, Infinity War, what else? Mission Impossible Fall. All of them have the minor problems that would technically make it not 10 out of 10 from a technical standpoint. But I choose to give them 10 out of 10s because I love them so much. I just love these movies so much. I can't not give them a 10 out of 10. And that's the case with this movie. I just love it too much to not give it a 10 out of 10. This is so much everything I wanted for me to not give it a 10 out of 10. A movie like Boy and Be My Neighbor's different because that's a documentary. But back onto Into the Spider-Verse, there is a lot on, he saves the day, of course. But I did think it was cool. I thought it was awesome visually. They shut down the collider. Then he calls his dad, and his dad's like, "There's something I have to say about your uncle." And then he was like, "Yeah, I know." And it was sad. And it's like, now we're bringing this up now. But thanks for bringing it up. Thanks for not forgetting about it. I'm so happy they didn't forget about that aspect. That would have been embarrassing if they did. But then Miles comes down and he has his Spider-Man suit on. He's like, "Officer," and they're like, "Oh, hey, a Spider-Man." And then he comes up and hugs him, which I thought was sweet. It was cool. I don't know why Miles did that. I guess it's his dad, but I thought it was sweet. I liked it. Thought it was nice. And then he says, "I do not approve of your ways, but I look forward to working with you in the future." And then he says, "Officer, I love you." I love that part, because then he's just like, "Ha, wait, what?" I just love that part. It was in the trailer, of course, but I thought it was funny. I thought that joke was really funny. As it stands, it's a funny movie, obviously. But anyway, yeah, then we see kind of his life is going good. He's friends with Gwen, kind of. I don't know how they're communicating, but whatever. Then credits roll. But now let's talk about the after credit scene before we actually talk about the movie as a whole. The after credit scene in this movie, I don't get it, but I kind of do. It is setting up a sequel, yes, but it's also making a pretty freaking funny joke. I thought the after credit scene is hilarious to this movie. Anyway, in the after credit scene, it shows in the future. You can kind of recognize it's Peter's voice. So I would assume this is from another dimension, or it is Peter in the future. I would assume it's from another dimension because he looks too futuristic for it to be the future. So I'm assuming it's from another dimension. He's like, "Take me back to a certain year." He goes back to 1962 to these old Spider-Man cartoons. And it's like, Spider-Man's all formal. It's like a classic 60s cartoon. I was laughing so hard at this moment. They're both arguing who pointed first. Then the best part of this whole scene is there's two guys just standing there saying "I wonder which one pointed first." Just this entire scene is what you call good, clever, unexpected, just fun comedy. Anyway, to wrap, Into the Spider-Verse is one of my favorite films of 2018, hands down. This movie is pretty much it's just everything you want a Spider-Man movie to be. You note this. Let's just look at no Spider-Man movies really changed the game that much. The one that was the most different was the Spider-Man Homecoming. And even still, followed a lot of the beats the other ones did. This one kind of follows the other one, beats the other one, but it is not the same. It is a completely different new idea. This is what I really liked. I just really like to see all the Spider-Man, all the action, the visuals. It's so cool. It's like the best Spider-Man movie is an animated movie. I loved this movie so much. I'm definitely going to buy this one on DVD. Definitely going to go check it out again in theaters. I just love this movie so much. Yeah, I loved Into the Spider-Verse. Still deserves that 10 out of 10. What do you guys think on Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse? Some of your spoiler thoughts in the comment section below. Of course, Mortal Engines review comes out later today. I'm pretty upset because I actually learned that on Amazon Prime. I think they played Aquaman last night, and I didn't know about this, and I have Prime, so I'm pretty mad. I could have gotten an Aquaman review today. That would be awesome. I was going to be like one of the few first people to review Aquaman. I would have loved that, but I didn't get to. And I don't think I'm reviewing Once Upon a Deadpool this weekend. I still am doing the same Bumblebee, Welcome to Marwen, Mary Poppins, and Aquaman still. That one's still on the slate. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time. Bye! I don't have anything else for now, sure. Ranking Spider-Man probably later today. Or maybe in the week. Who knows? More Transformers review this week, sure. Yes, Revenge of the Fallen video is going to try and come out today. Yes, I have a lot of video stuff to do, so let's get it done. The next video will probably be Mortal Engines. Bye!